Hey everyone, it's Cassie, and today we're going to be doing some Copic coloring. I've stamped my image on some Neenah Classic Crest Solar White cardstock. This is an image from LDRS Creative. I will have links in the description below. We're starting off by base coating our entire skin with our lightest skin tone, which is an E30. I'm then going to go into my darkest skin tone, which is an E33, and add in my shadows wherever the shadows would fall, so under the hairline, under the chin, under the hand. And then I'll soften those shadows out with my E31. And then I'll go back in and color over the entire thing with my E30 once again, just to blend that all together. For his hair, we're going to start with our E47, and I'm going to add that to the places where the hair would be the darkest using some flicking motions. This is not my darkest color, but I like to start with my second darkest color when I'm doing hair. And then I will lengthen that out with my E57 and cover over the entire thing with an E55. This will help blend all the different hair pieces together. Then to add definition back in, we're going to go in with an E49. This will be my darkest color, and just add in little bits here and there where the shadows would be the deepest. And then work my way back through the E47 and the E57. We're going to give this little guy some denim pants, and so I'm starting with a B99 in all the places where the shadows would be the deepest. So in the creases, underneath the computer, all those places. Then we're going to move to the B97 and just kind of lengthen each one of those shadows out just slightly and build on them. Go to the B59 and continue softening our shadows and working towards our highlight areas. Then we'll add in our lightest color, which is a B93. I don't feel like I have enough contrast in some of the deepest shadow areas, so I'm going in with some of my darker colors just to add a little bit more contrast. I'm also adding a little E81 over some of the areas of the jeans to make them look more distressed. We're going to give this little guy a green shirt, so I'm starting with some YG97. That will be my darkest color, so that's going in the darkest shadow areas. Then that will be softened out with some YG95. Then we'll go in with some YG93 and leave just a little bit of highlight area. And we will color that highlight in with some YG03. This is a bright green. It will take that dull green shadow and really make it pop. Then I'm just going in with some of my darker colors to add back in some of that contrast that got lost. I wanted to make his chair a leather chair, so I'm going to start with some E29. This will go into my darkest shadows, so behind him where the couch puckers and underneath the seat cushion, places like that where the shadows would be the darkest. And around each one of those little buttons, I'm going to do a little star shape. This will show that it's kind of puckering in where that button is. Then I'm going to go in with my E39 and soften each one of those shadows out. And I will also go over each one of those stars to lengthen those out as well. And again, the same thing with my E35. And finally, I'll go over all of my highlight areas with an E55, and this will just help pull it all together and blend in all of my shadows. For his shoes, I'm going to be working with my W's, so I'm starting with my W9 in the darkest areas of his soles and working through to W7 and finally to a W5. I'm also taking that W5 up into his shoe and then moving that into a W3 and finally into a W1. So his shoes look like they're gray and the soles darker black. And then I'll just add back in some of those shadows just to make sure there's lots of contrast in there. I wanted the computer to be a gray color, but I wanted it to look different from the shoes, so I'm using my C's instead of my W's for this. This will give it a cooler overall tone. So I'm just starting with my C5 and working my way through to my lighter colors. Finally, we'll add in the floor with our E87 as my darkest color, and I'm just going to add that in with the shadows and soften the edge out with some stippled dots. I'll then go in with an E84 and go over all of those stippled dots with the E84 and then add more dots along the edge of that color. And finally, I'll move into my E81 and just add some stippled dots to help blend all that out and soften it out to a white color. And here he is all finished up. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and be sure you're subscribed to my channel so you don't miss any future videos. You can find links to where else you can find me in the description below. You can also find links to my blog where there are more details about this project. Have a wonderful day and I will see you soon.